Hey, welcome to the Average Outdoors channel. Check this piece of wood out. Isn't that cool? This is a 1,000-year-old juniper that got struck by lightning. Darkened it all up. This is the part that was inside the stump. This is all just like black charcoal in here. Cleaning it up, I'm going to make a nightstand out of it. I really wish that I had started this project on video, but I didn't, so this one will not make it to the channel. But I just came back from an estate sale. My mother is very fond of them, so when she's in town visiting, we always find an estate sale to go to here locally. And I just came back with a pretty cool find, I think. This is a really old, well actually I don't truly know how old it is. It's a case. I can't find any, not that I look too hard, you can see that the condition is dremeled, maybe? That's how I'm going to explain that one. Dremeled. I think somebody took a dremeling wheel and tried to clean it up. Now, maybe somebody can get a look in there. It looks like CV. The numbers in there, the letters 3318CV. It's hard to read that. It's kind of covered up by the bolster there. Let's see if any of the other knives. I've never actually looked at this one too closely. I know there's a lot of case collectors out there. I am not one of them. So this says I can get the case logo on there. As far as the outlying stuff, it looks like XOXO. Is that just a border, or was it once letters? Can't tell. Anyways, I don't see any made in. I know that some of the newer cases are made in China or Taiwan. There's some rust on that blade right there. But as you can see, overall, the outside is in dang good condition, but each blade is in exceedingly poor condition, and it is dull, with all the tips kind of being rounded off. So my goal today is to leave the rustic look to it, because I think it looks awesome. Now this is kind of just a plasticky, I don't think it's bone at all, I think it's just plastic. Not ideal on that side. I wish that were a bone, or maybe even just a cool looking wood, instead of this, I don't know, faux ivory, aged looking plastic. But our goal today is to sharpen up all these points, because I like my knife to have a nice sharp point, nothing dull like that. Especially if I'm going to use this mainly for wood carving. It's kind of a little hobby I'm half trying to pick up here, having fun with it. And I'm kind of trying to decide what's the best way to do it. Now these are exceedingly thin blades, so I'm not sure that I want to go after it with my belt grinder. I think it would just be a little bit too obstructive, invasive. And additionally, with my belt grinder, since it's such a chintzy piece of work, when you use finer grits, because I wouldn't want to hit this with 220 or anything, I'd want to come in with like 400 to 600. When you use the finer grits, oh, there's a better view of that letter there. Yeah, CM maybe? Nope, CV. CV. If you know anything about it, let me know in the comments. But like I was saying, once you get to the finer grits on that Harbor Freight belt grinder, it has such a high chatter. It's like clack, 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 clack. You have zero control whatsoever. I really wish I could see like a Made in America sign or Made in USA or something, but I'm just not seeing it. So, haven't done any research on it, don't know when it's from, but we are going to just bust out sandpaper and we are going to clean up those blades as best we can. And then I'm going to go on the belt grinder and I will sharpen up the spines here, just because I want that to be a real nice point. Might shorten the blades overall a little bit, but in the end I think the ends justify the means. A rounded off tip like that just is not very precise and doesn't do me a lot of good. Let's get to it. I'm thinking the best way to do this is to clamp it in the vise here. Not too tight, because the tension here, unfortunately, is actually squeezing those blades into the body there, and I don't want to break anything, but it doesn't need to be too tight. I'm not going to be putting all too much pressure. Oh, I do want a little bit tighter than that. So let's go on just this bolster here. Do you think that's going to work? No, it's just going to shove it off because it's tapered. How do I clamp this guy down? It would be nice to clamp it like that. But then I'm not going to really get the correct lever. This is why I need a bloody knife vise. Wouldn't that be nice? You just stick it in there and tilt it any way I want. Let's do on that bolster just like... no, not like that. Dang, I might have to do this. Really wasn't wanting to, but I'm thinking it's my best bet to make that nice and sturdy. And then I want to use this is a flat ground. I want to continue with that flat spot there, so I'm not going to try and do any hand work. I'm going to use a file for my straight edge here. Put some sandpaper around the file. That'll act as my sanding block. And then I'll come forward and back, keeping that as flat as possible. Again, these are really thin blades, so you don't want to put too much pressure because you can bend or snap them. And we're going to have some fun hand sanding from an awkward angle. So the issue I'm running into is that whoever absolutely raped this poor little knife did a pretty good number on it, and those Dremel marks go pretty dang deep. And so in my quest to remove these horrific marks, I am taking off a lot more material than I'd really like. I don't want to end up with a paper thin blade. I mean, this blade is already so thin. And I fear that if I actually go down to where it would be fresh, beautiful steel, my end blade thickness would be useless. So I'm trying to find a happy medium between a good thickness and good aesthetic quality to it. And I think I'm going to have to go on the side of good thickness and forego the side of good aesthetic quality here. Yeah, bummer that is. They also took off more material in the middle than they did on the edges, which if you're using a Dremel would make sense because that's where you're going to have the majority of your time spent on. And so what's happening is the middle is staying bad and the two ends, it's almost like a false hollow grind. So you can see how the two outer sides here have gone to bare metal, and that middle is still very puckered up, almost with a poor man's hollow grind done with the Dremel. I think I'm going to have a better time coming in with my finger and just continuing with the horrific grind on here, because like I said, it's just so thin, so incredibly thin that I just don't want to take off too much material. So I'm going to go however confident I feel, like this, and then just leave it at that. I mean, it already looks, I don't know, it looks better. It doesn't look good, but I think better is all I'm going to be able to achieve. Now, if I were really a boss, I'd take this whole thing apart, reforge out blades for it, and I might do that in the future. Try and make my own, but that level of precision is out of my comfort zone at the moment. As much as I think that these Harbor Freight 1x30s are an atrocious choice for knife making, one cannot object to their durability, because I have abused this thing. It has been rained on. I leave it outside, and I've had it for years, 5 years. Made a lot of knives off of it. do a lot of woodwork off of it. It's all this bark dust, sawdust on there, and it keeps going. So now my goal is to, like I said, just sharpen up these points here. And I might sacrifice a bit of the edge. I don't know if I want to do it on this. I might try it on one, see how it goes. But I do need to reprofile the edge, and that requires sacrificing the existing edge because this one's not as bad as some, but they are bad. Let's go ahead and sharpen up the points here, nice and slow. And I need to hook you up. You can see I got that tip a little bit on that last pass, but see how the edge sweeps up on the blade? On a sheep's foot, it's supposed to be completely straight, so I still need to take off another, I don't know, 1/16 of an inch from the top there. I'm being picky, but I want it to be a nice cutter.
Nice cheap split cut there. Moving on to the next.
Sharpening knives is one of those things where there are 1,000,000 different ways to do it. You kind of have to find something that works for you. I've tried a lot of different ways of doing it. I've tried that Lansky system, did not like that. I tried doing it on the belt, and the problem with my belt grinder is that it moves too fast and it burns too easily. And it's hard to get a real nice consistent bevel on it. Definitely takes some practice. I think there are two areas that I'd like to improve on my knife making skills. One would be sharpening, and the other would be forging to shape. I feel like my bevels are pretty dang good. My ability to grind out a shape from like stock removal, I mean that's just really easy to do. Draw it out, grind a shape, pretty easy. Bevels took a while to learn, to get nice consistent bevels, especially on that 1x30. Oh, my son's awake. I don't know if you heard that or not. My peaceful sharpening time, I think, has come to an end. See, and the problem with, I feel like when I get with sharpening is I'll have sharp edges, like right there is pretty dang sharp on the belly there. But on the flat, I mean it's not dull, but I'd consider it not sharp. Practice in time. So I got this one pretty dang sharp from the stone. It digs into your nail, it doesn't just skate across. That's the way I like it. Some people just do this. I feel like I can't really get a good sense of how sharp. You can see how one area might be sharper than other, but I find it hard to compare, so I just run it across my nail. If it sticks in, so like right there, the very tip, that needs a little bit of work. But down here, the body, the belly, sharp. Anyways, once I've finished on the stone, I'll come on with a strop. If you are not stropping, you need to strop. This is aluminum oxide. Kind of looks like, I don't know, something off Sons of Anarchy or something. Just a little bit of that. And then same angle that you were doing with the sharpening stone, you come and you strop off that excuse me, strop off that edge, and you're just deburring all the little microscopic saw teeth on there. Don't need to do too many here. This really gives a nice finished edge. Polishes off the end. Yeah, and now it's just, I mean, that's wicked sharp. 1 down, 3 more to go. 2 more to go. All 3 blades are sharpened up. It is good to go. Now, it's not quite as beautiful as I was hoping. I was really hoping I'd get a nice clean metal finish across the entirety of the blade. And it just wasn't going to happen. Like I said, I ran into so many issues with whoever tried to clean this up in the past. Now, I could take off a little bit more, but the camera, if it would focus. These are just such thin little blades, and they're full flat ground on both sides. And so it's not a lot of material to work with. I did notice, and it's pretty apparent, that this largest blade here is definitely of thicker stock than the rest. So I would feel confident coming back in here with a sanding block and getting this perfect, because you can feel that it's got way more meat going on than the 2 other smaller blades. But regardless, I've got a nice polished edge on those. They are really, really sharp. I've got a nice usable old case for $5. Cool old knife. Thanks for watching, guys.